Good morning, beloved ones. You all look so beautiful. Turn to someone and tell them you're the dream come true. You're the dream come true. Yes. You are the dream come true. Yes. You're a part of my dream. I know that much. You all are a part of my dream. You're a part of my vision. Not just my lay leaders, but all of you. We are all a part of this wonderful divine plan that God has for us. You know, we've been talking a lot about divine ideas, the divine plans, and the dreams that we are holding. We've been talking about it for the last few weeks, and I mentioned the need for us to know. Can you turn my mic down just a teeny bit? Thank you. I got a little feedback. Thank you. So we've been talking about, the need to know exactly what it is that you want, to have an idea of the direction that you want to move in. I've shared with you the importance of believing that you will achieve your heart's desire, that you have to be single-minded and passionate about your dreams. And I've also been thinking that it's important for us to know the difference between dreams and wishful thinking. Because some people equate, dreams as wishful thinking. But holding true dreams, holding a true dream requires more than a passing wish. It requires real work, mental work. It requires attention. What those folks undertook was real mental work, working on consciousness, working on themselves. We held them accountable. They had to write several papers and read lots of books and apply, and we got to see what's happening. Is there transformation occurring in your life? Is there change? Because when you work these principles, friends, you ought to be different. When you're working the truth, something should be happening in your life. And so we're working with dreams, but not as wishful thinking. We are understanding the real work that is required, the mental work. I've been reading this book by Robert Collier that I've shared with you called The Secret of the Ages. And he made a comment in it that intrigued me because he said, the trouble with most of us is that we are mentally lazy. And so when I read that, I had the same thing. I went, whew, the nerve of him, mentally lazy. But then as I began to focus on just what it does indeed take to manifest or to demonstrate not just our dreams, but an idea that we're holding, I really recognize that many people don't want to put the work in, the mental work that is required. See, it's easy to come up with the dream, and we may even find it easy for us to believe in the dream, to believe that we're going to achieve it. And yet, it may not have happened for us. And I'm thinking, why is that? Because as I mentioned in the previous talk, that our beliefs must match the intensity of our desires. So if we want something, that's great, but we also have to believe equal to the desire that we have. So sometimes what happens is when I think about something that I want, I may feel it intensely at that moment. I say, I want this, or I want that house, or I want this, or I want the church. I might think about it and feel it intensely in that moment. But sometimes thoughts come and thoughts go. Now, while I'm feeling it, because in the moment I'm real, I'm feeling it. Yeah, Lord, I want that, But it's in that moment. And so that's not the problem of me not feeling. What it is that I need is not just the intensity of my feeling something in the moment. I need to be able to hold it for the long haul. I need to be able to feel that desire and need for the long haul. I need to increase my duration and my frequency, or how often I think about the dream or my desire. Napoleon Hill said, "You become what you think about all day long." Right? You get to experience what you think about all day long. And so we have to understand this, that the frequency of your thought, both literally and figuratively, the frequency of your thought actually sets up the frequency or the vibration in the energy field of substance, which produces stuff, produces your stuff, the stuff you want, right? We all want stuff now, let's be honest. And we want stuff and we want things to change. But we have to understand that the frequency of our thoughts matches the frequency or the vibration of that corresponding thought in the field, the energy field of substance. Because the things that we desire are already done, already so. They are in the field, the energy field of substance. And so if we think about it, the word frequency speaks to how often we hold the thought, and it also speaks to the vibrational channel upon which that thought is riding. It's a frequency, right? Like a radio wave that we pick up when we're trying to tune in. So the frequency is are we, for us to understand, are we tuned into the vibration of our desires, of our dreams? And it's about how long we're holding that frequency. If we're on the right frequency vibrationally, and if we have the frequency to hold it. Because you know how you are with a radio, you're trying to find that station and you just turn a knob and you just go from one end to the other. But if you don't stop and you don't tune in, right, and catch that wave and that frequency that is broadcasting that channel or that music or whatever it is, you're going to miss it. So we have to understand the nature of frequency. So the question then is, how long are we able to hold it, and how often? Because that's what frequency is. How long and how often are we able to think about our dreams and our desires? How much time do you devote to it mentally? Mentally. Do you affirm it, every day? Do you affirm that desire morning, noon, and night, 3 times a day, or 2 times a day, or more? What's the level of which you give attention and time, mental energy to that dream? Or is it just when it comes to you? Do you affirm it just when you happen to be talking about it? Telling somebody, oh yeah, I really want that, and then that's it? Or when something just happens to cross your mind? Oh yeah. Or do you have a plan? Do you have a plan for the mental work that you're going to put into this dream? This stuff takes work. I love Johnny Coleman. She says it works if you work it, but it takes work, right? It works if you work it. And so we are about working consciousness, because consciousness is the creative field that holds your dreams. Consciousness is the source of their manifestation. And so if you're going to build something, you need to build consciousness first. You need to build that vibration for the thing you desire, because the level of your consciousness will actually determine whether or not you're going to possess that thing. Because every thought carries a vibration. We know this in truth. We know this in unity. Every thought carries a vibration. But here's the good news, is that the universe responds to the level of vibration in that it will return to you The strongest vibrations that we are holding in consciousness with intensity and consistency. Did you get that? That's the process. And so the more you think about your dream, that is, the more you are devoting time to vibrating your dream, because if you're thinking about it properly, you're vibrating, you're feeling it. Ooh, this feels good. See, you're vibrating. The more you think about it, the more you're vibrating that dream. What happens is the larger or the stronger the vibration becomes in thought energy, and it begins to grow, and the more likely it is that you're going to reach that vibration of that level, that wavelength, that is your dream. And the more it will come to you, the more you will draw it to you, the quicker you'll draw it to you. So you've got to begin to see yourself, any way that you can get yourself to vibrate. See yourself with your manifested desire. I oftentimes come in here, and I did it at the other church, and I do it all the time. I visualize on Sunday mornings or whenever I see it filled. I feel the energy of this place. It's alive, it's vibrant. I can see and feel in my mind's eye the spirit and the energy and the consciousness that I'm holding and that I'm seeing for this place. There's great music, and we're all singing and vibing at the same time. We got a live band going on, and just this wonderful energy. The preaching is good, and everything is happening. And we're getting it. We're getting it. We're loving each other, supporting each other. We're growing together. We're affirming one another. This is a place where people want to be because they know something is here of God. That's what I hold. See? And I vibrate that with it. So I've got tingles now going up and down because I can feel it. And it's wonderful. So visualize, because see, this is the thing. Visualization along with vibration becomes irresistible. And if you add a little consistent duration and frequency, well, that's it. Now we're talking. So what type of mental energy are you willing to put out? Weak effort equals weak signals, and weak signals equals weak return. You manifest what you think about all day long. And while we may not be able to, think about our dreams all day long, because some of us have to work and give a little time to Caesar, but we may not be able to do that, but we certainly can make a commitment, though, to make that dream at some point of every day to focus on it. You'd be surprised at how much time we waste in idle thinking. Just stuff. Who did what on the soap operas, or who did what at your job, or idle stuff. Non-purposeful use of your energy. And so we've got to figure out, how can we do some things differently? Try affirming your desire and your dream. Maybe affirm it in the morning, at noontime, and at nighttime. Or maybe you want to practice affirming it every hour on the hour for a solid minute. If you can do that, when the chime of your watch goes off, you begin to affirm your dream. Even if it's for a minute of that hour, you'd be surprised how powerful that is. Or maybe you want to take, a solid hour of uninterrupted time. Maybe you're not going to do it every other hour. You want to do it an hour in the morning or an hour in the evening, where you just totally spend an entire hour vibrating and feeling and holding and focusing on your desire and your dream. See, the point is to do some type of mental treatment, some type of mental conditioning work, focused thought, until your consciousness is filled with the dream. Duration and frequency and intensity and vibration and visualization, all that counts, and it matters. It matters. Now, I want to change the subject here for a minute. Because while I believe it is very important to be willing to do the work that's necessary for the fulfillment of your dreams, I also believe that it is equally important, or maybe even more vitally important, to be willing to do the work that's necessary to transform your being. Because sometimes we get focused on the having and the doing and we forget about the being, right? And what good is it if you lose yourself in the dream? See, growth and unfoldment, the growth and unfoldment of your being is what is important. Because that speaks to the law of life. It speaks to the law of life and creativity, which is to grow and change. Life is about growth and change. And Gurdjieff said this, wonderful philosopher. He said, inner growth, a change of being, depends entirely upon the work which a man must do on himself. What is the work that you're willing to do, not just for your dream, but on yourself? What is that you're willing to do? And is the work that you're willing to do on yourself as meaningful to you as it is acquiring your dream? Is it as meaningful? Because Jesus said something very similar. He said, what does it profit a man or a woman to gain the whole world but lose his soul? So, yes, we got dreams, and yes, we're going to aspire to, to fulfill them and to have things. But there's something that is more important than that. Because if we have no sense of our true purpose, which is the unfoldment and expression of our divine selves, then big deal. Your things are not going to really fulfill you and feed you. And so in addition to all this reaching out for things and striving for them, which is okay, but we also must be willing to seek growth, because that's how we know we're truly living. When you begin to grow and unfold and transform and change, you know that you're truly living. And it may not always feel good. It might not look like you want it to look, but it is a necessary part of life. We all want things to be different, but we don't want to be different. Right? So we have to understand how to really engage in life. Are you about growth? Are you about change? Ralph Ellison said this. He said, it takes a deep commitment to change and an even deeper commitment to grow. Are you committed? Committed to change, committed to growth? Or do you find a bit of resistance going on with either of those facets? When you're being called to grow or being called to change or being called to move out. I love the Old Testament and the prophets. God was always calling them and saying, you got to get up from out of here and go over there. Really? And they said, who, me? And the ones that said, yes, here I am. Okay, send me. All right. Those are the ones that were blessed. Herbert Otto said this. He said, change and growth take place when a person has risked himself and dares to become involved with experimenting with his life. Isn't that wonderful? Ooh, I said, ooh, experimenting with one. That's deep. That's what I wrote in my paper. That's deep. Because how many of us are willing to experiment with our lives, right? To try new things and to see what happens. To risk mistakes and failures so that you can gain knowledge nonetheless. Most of us want to play it safe. We want things to be the same and to do it the same way. But that's not growth. That's not life. We are, as a church, we are experimenting with finding ourselves in this environment. We're going to be doing things and have done things differently than we've done them before. And so I'm seeing and hoping and knowing and affirming and praying that we're all open and receptive to growth and change. And even if it means things are going to look different or feel different. Because when we have 2,000 people coming here every Sunday morning, it's going to be different. Right? It's going to be different. But I'm preparing for it. I'm getting ready for it. That's why we got more new lay leaders coming. And the ones that are working, and the board is doing lots of visioning. We're getting ready for it. Knowing it's going to be different and welcoming the change. Might mean the bulletin will change. Don't panic. It's all good. I want to leave you, because you laugh, but We all get hung up on, something catches us. Oh, there's no sheet to write my prayer request in. Speak it to God. He knows. Go back to God. But I want to leave you lastly with this quote from a great mystic and spiritual teacher and metaphysician, Meister Eckhart. And he's who Eckhart Tolle named himself as, the Meister Eckhart, great man. And he said this, he said, there's no stopping place in this life. We might get to rest for a little bit, but we don't get to stop, all right? He says, there's no stopping place in this life, no, nor was there ever for any man, no matter how far along his way he'd gone. This above all, then, be ready at all times for the gifts of God, and always for the new ones. Friends, we are in the midst of the law of life and creativity, which is growth and change. And if we truly desire to move to our next level of greatness that we're talking about, then we have to be ready. Ready for the gifts of God, for the new ones that are coming. We have to be ready for things to change. We have to be ready to work on our consciousness. We have to be ready to expand our territory, ready to welcome in the new people that are already coming, to welcome in all the gifts that are ours. We've got to be ready. And I thank all of you who have taken the time to submit your divine ideas in our treasure chest. I've read some of them, and I know that there are going to be some ideas that will help us to really fulfill the law of life, which is growth, and to fulfill our dreams. And so I'm thankful and grateful to each of you. But I want you to know this. When you follow your dreams, your life will change. When you manifest your dreams, your life will change. Are you ready for it? Not just the dream, but the change that comes with it. All right. So we remember clarity, knowing what it is you want, plus desire, plus belief, plus intensity, plus visualization, plus vibration, and duration and frequency equals a dream fulfilled. And when we remember to stay in tune with all of that to our soul, then that equals a life fulfilled, a life well lived. So I say, dream on and live big. Blessings. Blessings.